Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive. Welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Readings. Around here, we're all about curiosity, clarity, and courage, understanding ourselves, each other, and the beautifully messy mystery of being human. Come with your questions, leave with understanding, and maybe a little lighter than before. And today we are exploring a topic that is actually pretty serious. When fame stops feeling safe. Let's talk about Sabrina Carpenter. Fame may get you the fabulous clothes, the sold out shows, and that VIP treatment that I know I like, but apparently it doesn't come with a force field. So, what happens when being seen by everyone starts costing you your sense of safety? This is a big deal, guys. This is a really big deal. Everyone should feel safe. So let's get to the heart of the story here. Sabrina Carpenter recently obtained a temporary restraining order after alleging that a man repeatedly appeared at her home and even attempted to force his way inside. The incident has sparked renewed conversations about celebrity safety, privacy, and the emotional cost of fame. While fans often see a glamorous side of celebrity life, stories like this remind us that visibility can come with a very real loss of personal security. So why do we really need to care about this? Well, the story that we're talking about today really isn't about stalking. It's about what happens when success opens doors you never wanted anyone to walk through. But it also is about stalking, and that's a very real thing. Nobody deserves, even if you open your doors to the public, nobody has the right to stalk an individual. And of course, we know anybody who's a stalker has some mental illness issues. So, I mean, that can take us down a whole rabbit hole. But for the person who is being stalked, it is not a fun experience. You don't feel safe. You don't feel secure. You feel that your life is in jeopardy. And for these stars, it costs them a lot of money to have to get security and people looking after them. And, you know, it's unfortunate that we live in a world where this happens. But we live in a world where this happens. So let's talk about it, so we can maybe find ways to put a stop to it. And sadly, I think a lot of women in this world already kind of have a taste of this. They know what this feels like and what this looks like. So we can have some compassion for Sabrina's situation. So let's get to everyone's favorite. Let's talk about the tea. What is this experience trying to teach Sabrina about boundaries, visibility, and protecting her own peace? You know, spidey sense wise, this is a big one, because even though everyone should have the right to open their doors and to share, themselves, a part of themselves in whatever way they want, and feel free and safe and secure to be able to express themselves however they want to express themselves, we still live in a world where there are people who deal with mental illness, and you don't always know when you're going to run into someone like that. So I feel very much like this experience, not only is it, I want to say, kind of part of, like, what do they say, par for the course with the industry that she's in, but on a personal level, what is this teaching her? Well, I would say boundaries is really important. Not only, physical boundaries, making sure that, her home is safe and secure, but I feel also like she does share quite a bit about her life, her career path, all of those things. And I'm not saying she's wrong, but I'm saying from a boundaries perspective, perhaps she needs to be a little more, how would I put it, considered about the things that she's putting out there, about what it is that she's sharing. Again, we, especially women, should not have to edit ourselves. We should not have to do these things. But should and reality are sometimes two different things, right? So let's see what the cards have to say about what she is learning. Interesting. Page of Cups, getting more creative about the way she self-expresses out into the public. And, we as just general normal people who don't have a whole lot of fame and just kind of live, basic average normal lives, we don't have this to worry about so much. I want to say we think about what we're going to, wear in the morning. We think about the route that we're going to take to work. We think about our safety in terms of making sure you've got, your can of mace or your keys in your hands when you're walking to the car, or you're waiting at the bus stop to get on the bus to go, like we already kind of do a lot of these things. From a celebrity perspective, I feel like some of her celebrity has elevated her out of that a bit. Gives you when you have a million people around you organizing and managing you, you don't think about those things so much because you've got everyone else thinking about those things. And this is reminding her not to give away her power, that she does still need to be vigilant and considered in her choices. The Page of Cups also is a messenger. And I feel like the messenger is coming through to say, you can still be yourself. You can still be playful. You can still, present the persona out in public that you want to present and keep some of your own private stuff private. You can protect your peace with that. But there may need to be, again, some creative approach because you're also dealing with people with mental illness, people who are not emotionally mature, not emotionally stable, or people who think like children or think like students rather than thinking like general, regular, normal people. So that Page of Cups is really interesting. I feel like for her, it's finding the balance, not giving up her sense of fun and playfulness and adventure, but also being a little more considered about her choices and what she chooses to share and when she chooses to share it. The truth beneath the situation. How has fame changed Sabrina's relationship with trust? And what part of herself is she being asked to reclaim? Oh, I love this question. So, Spidey sense wise, I feel like it has thrown off her relationship with trust, and it's about trusting with herself, within herself, trusting her own intuition, her own Spidey senses. Again, as I said in the previous question, when you have so many people around you, you forget to do those things for yourself. You just assume that someone else is on it, that someone else, is taking up that, part of the mantle. And, if you're really busy and you've got a lot of irons in the fire, obviously that's why you do hire people to take a little bit of the weight and the load off of you. But when we are talking about our own sovereignty, our own personal safety, our own agency, you can't farm that out. You still need to be connected with that. You still need to be up on that. And again, not vigilant in a, oh my God, everybody's out to get me perspective, but more so from that space of there are certain things that I don't want someone else doing for me or on my behalf, because that is a part of who I am. And it builds up confidence and it builds up resilience. And it builds up, I want to say, a sense of safety and that you can protect yourself in that. So let's see what the cards have to say. Oh my goodness, we got the Chariot. And if you've watched any of my other pop culture readings this week, you will see that a Chariot card popped up in another reading. It's very interesting. So the Chariot is all about, I like to say this is the Uber or the Lyft that takes you from the airport to your resort hotel. You've already started the vacation, but you wouldn't want to spend your entire vacation in the Uber or the Lyft. You're grateful that it's, taking you and your luggage to a place that you've never been to before, that you don't know where you're going, and you're trusting that that the driver knows, more so than you, and you're grateful for that experience. But you'll be really glad to get to the resort and to be able to relax, right? I feel like this is a little bit what we're talking about. It's not giving away your power, but it's acknowledging that you can have bridges, but you need to be a part of the bridge. You need to understand that, okay, I'm going from island A to island B. There's a suspension bridge here, but I'm not meant to stay on the suspension bridge. I'm meant to be present with what the suspension bridge is doing for me and where it's taking me, but I'm still in control, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's my life. And I feel like that's exactly what Sabrina's relationship with trust, or this situation is teaching Sabrina's relationship with trust, is kind of taking back some of her power, being more engaged with her own security detail. I keep seeing in my mind's eye that she may decide after all of this to take some self-defense classes as well. Maybe get involved in Aikido or karate or, Qigong, any of those Eastern modalities, that help you to really work with energy and to build up your ability to defend yourself. And it's great with your mind, right? It's great for that mental peace. All right, guys, my favorite time of the segment, we've got mirror work. Okay, where in your own life have you mistaken constant access for genuine connection? And what boundary is asking to be honored? This is a huge one. Speaking about social media, we have all of these, what do they call them? Keyboard warriors, who feel like because they're behind the keyboard, they can say and do anything. They're, the masters of the universe or the monsters of the universe. But when it comes to stepping into real life or saying it to my face, it's a whole different ballgame. And social media also can create this false sense of connectedness. Oh, I really get along with this person online where, we have so many of the same, comments all the time. And we have, this particular fan in common, we both love Sabrina. And, so let's create this dialogue. Let's create this connection. But it might not be real. It might not be a true connection. It might be surface level. And so when you're feeling like there's like, oh, this is a real connection, you tend to let your boundaries down. You tend to let your guard down. You share things that maybe you might not in any other given circumstance share right away with that person. You might not put that information out for the whole world to see. There's a false sense of trust. It's trusting someone, I want to say, too soon in a lot of ways. So from the card's perspective, let's see what it has to say. But when you're asking yourself, where in your life have you mistaken constant access for genuine connection? We all have done it. Take a look at your life. Is there a relationship in your life that you're maybe giving away a little power to because you think it's something more than what it is? You're mistaking it for that genuine connection when really it's surface level. And then when we say what boundary is asking to be honored, well, let's see. Oh my God, guys. Okay. So we just did another pop culture reading where I told you that we got the Chariot in that. We also got the Two of Swords in that. And I'm using a completely different deck. So it's really interesting how the cards have spoken. Two of Swords is a card of boundaries. I say it's like the shit sandwich card. It's a choice between shit sandwich A and shit sandwich B. All things being equal, I'd rather not, have to eat a shit sandwich. But understanding that in order for me to move forward, I have to just kind of choose one and get going on it so that I can get on to the business of living and moving into future things. I feel like this is the boundary that's asking to be honored. That Two of Swords, it's a choice that no one wants to have to make, and yet you're faced with it. So make the choice. Be in that boundaried space. Just give yourself a little more time to get to know someone. Ask different questions. Ask questions that are going to challenge somebody. You don't have to be adversarial about it, but you want to ask the kinds of questions that are going to evoke a bit more of a truthful answer. It's going to reveal who the person is, rather than just blindly trusting the people in your life or the people in your world. And I don't mean like you have to be distrusting of everyone. That's not what I'm saying. But anyone that you're bringing in that's new into your life, or anyone that sets off your spidey senses a little bit, where you're like, I don't know, man, this guy kind of creeps me out. Or, this person, they say a lot of things, but there's something about it that I just can't put my finger on, but I don't think they're being completely truthful. Ask probing questions. Hold firm to that boundary, because at the end of the day, your safety and your security relies upon you and you alone. We all have agency, which also means that we all have to be accountable for our actions and our choices. And we all co-create our lives together. So work with the universe when we are creating connections with other people, and you will have a much better outcome on the other side. Wow. Okay, guys, that is our pop culture segment for today. Remember, curiosity gets us in the door. Clarity helps us understand what we're seeing, and courage is what we do with what we've learned. Until I see you for another episode of Pop Culture Readings, sending lots of love and support. We'll see you on the flip side, and transform well.